the four best teams to miss the playoffs in the modern NBA. You were on two of them in back-to-back years. The 2008 Warriors and the 2009 Suns, two of the four best teams to miss the playoffs in the modern era. Both loaded rosters. And this Suns team, I think it comes at an interesting point. I'm going to get into the team a little bit later. But I think for you, man, like you look at your career, 2009, this is the sixth consecutive year that you've signed a one-year contract. And obviously, even a one-year contract in the NBA, it's good money. You know, there's going to be people who say, oh, you got nothing to complain about. But what is it like kind of being in the NBA circle around all your teammates when you're a dude that you don't know if the next year you're going to even have a job? Like when you think back to that time of your life where it's like year after year, no stability, like what do you think of and what type of mental state were you in where it's 1 year after the other 1 year contracts?
It was just a journey, a grind. You know what I mean? When people say embrace the journey, like I wouldn't change nothing, man, because I was hungry. I was a dog. Whether it was basketball or fighting, like I was gonna make it. You know what I mean? So each year I would get to show a little bit. You know what? So I was drafted, went to the G League, get a call up from the Clippers, played well there. We're a terrible team. This is D Miles, no, excuse me, not D Miles, Q Rich, Keon Dooling, Chris Kaman was a rookie, Bobby Simmons. You know, weren't a very good team, but had a situation to go back. I think it was like 2 years at the minimum. But then I was going home in the off season, every off season to work out, and this is when the Kings were popping. You know what I mean? So this is C Webb, Bibb, Jay Willard just left. They're battling the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. So I'm home all summer. I'm like, damn, I'm from Sac. It would be dope to play here. So I just worked out at up in Sac all summer. And Rick Adelman came to me, and we had a discussion, and obviously had the Clipper opportunity, but it was just kind of a dream come true to play at home. C Webb was the big homie already. You know, the team is good, so I signed there. You know, C Webb's coming off a knee injury. He gets traded to Philly, and on starts my journey. You know what I mean? So I went from, you know, kind of I think it was a guaranteed situation with the Clippers. I would have been there 2 more years. Went to Sacramento, got traded at the trade deadline to Philly. Philly was a nightmare for me personally. Didn't get a chance to play for like 2 years. So I'm at the kind of 2005, 6, like, damn, am I going to be in the league? I continue to bounce from teams. I had an opportunity to play with the Clippers. I played with the Kings a little bit, but I didn't get no burn in Philly. You know, so I'm like, shit. So I'm in the summertime. This is when my brother's just getting out of college. So I'm doing football workouts and basketball workouts in the summertime, not really knowing what's going to pop. I mean, I'm just like, shit, you know, I had really had no teams calling after that, you know, 2 years in Philly without getting a chance to play. I told my agent just like, you know, I'm a better football player than basketball. I was just doing this shit because I loved it, but fuck it, let's go do football. So we had some NFL teams that summer. I was going to, you know, end up, you know, doing some you know, close tryouts for. But then Baron Davis calls me. I'm in Sac, summertime. He hits me up. He's in the Bay. He's like, hey, bro, we're going to play.
2006.
We're going to hoop.
This is right before
2006. Yep. Yeah. So we're going to hoop in the Warriors facility. Come down and fuck with us. So that's like, you know, 90 minutes, a little bit more from Sac. So I push down there, go out there, play really well, like really well. And I didn't know that Don Nelson was watching practice. He comes down, puts his arm around me. Like, son, we got a full team. We have a full training camp. We don't even have a spot, but if I'm going to invite you to training camp, and if you play like you did today, I can't promise you nothing, but I'm going to give you an opportunity. And I'm like, damn, really?
Matt, why do you feel like you were able to thrive in those situations, being on one-on-ones and sitting out 2 years and then just being able to get a call? Because you was always down to go to SAC or go to the Clippers or, hey, we're going up in here and for the runs and you leave with a job. You know what I mean? How do you know, a lot of people be in those runs and be free agents, but not everybody leaves with a job. Well, why do you think like you were so cut for, you know, that cutthroat of an opportunity, and why did you thrive in those?
I think at that point, Jelani, I had thrown away what I thought I wanted to do in the league and found out what I needed to do in the league. Like, bro, I got to play defense. I got to be a fucking dog. I love football, so physicality was nothing to me. I loved it. I loved the competitiveness. I love just being like mean out there, and not in no asshole type way, but if it had to be an asshole type way, I didn't mind taking it there. Like I was just a super. I would always say like I was a football player playing basketball. So like when
Correct.
I was physical, like I loved it. I loved the physicality of the game. So anyway, long story short, Nelly gives me an opportunity to come to training camp. I beat out everyone they invited to training camp. Start playing so well. And it was funny because Mitch Richmond just talked about this the other day on the show when he was at All Star. I was playing so well, and I was playing like the 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5. So you have a free agent dude that's on a minimum deal, and I start playing so well that it makes Dunleavy, who they gave some bread to, True Murphy, who they gave some bread to, like, hey, let's go see if we can use these guys because they're still solid guys. They weren't necessarily fitting into the new way this team was going with at Barron's lead. So they get trade. That happens. We trade to get Stat. You know what I mean? And then the rest is history. The following year, my mom dies at the beginning of the season. So I'm thinking I'm going to get a mid-level deal off that Golden That We Believe run because they're talking about me all over TNT. Like, oh, yeah,
You
this
hit
guy is one
huge
of the
shot. You
best.
hit huge shots in like game 6.
Big
Big
shots.
shots,
Huge.
crunch time.
Huge. Mm-hmm.
Did my thing, you know what I mean? And so story goes with that. Everyone's telling me, and I should have fucking listened. Everyone's telling me like, "Yo, you need to get a bigger agent," because I had like a homegrown guy with my guy Gus Armstead, whose son is Eric Armstead, who plays for the 49ers.
The homie.
His dad was my guy, and he was my workout guy in Sac, and he connected me to a guy in the East Coast, and I was with him. Smaller guy, did his job, grinded for me, but I'm starting hearing all this other shit. Are you going to get 35 million? I think it was a 5-year for 35 at that time, July, if I'm not mistaken. It would be
Dallas.
7 a year. Those were the deals they're supposed to give. So
Yep.
I'm hearing that I had Dan Fagan, rest in peace. That Dan had a nice mid-level deal for me coming off the Dallas situation, or he had it or he was working on it. And I was like, dope. He's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be able to get you the mid-level at Dallas. So I'm like, hell yeah, I go on vacation. I come back and I see that they assigned Stackhouse and Devin George, I think, with that money. And I hit Dan. He's just like, they were at a certain number, and I wanted to get to a certain number. I'm just like, so you tricked off more money.
So he did the same thing.
So I went and tried to find him. I was about to pull up on Dan.
I wanted to.
Lucky
The disappearing.
Because you got to think, Jelani, like, yeah,
deal after
yeah,
the way our career
man.
goes, and hey, man, that's real. That's real.
Life or death, bro.
Yeah,
Life or death. And so think
yeah.
about it. So now I'm thinking I'm going to be getting $7 million a year, 5 years, seven a year. Once that falls through, this is how the end of my career in Golden State went. So they offer me a 3-year. Golden State off the rip offered me 3 years, $12 million. So $4 million a year. And Nelly's like, from Nelly's point of view, he was trying to lowball me, but also thinking like I gave this motherfucker a chance. So this is what it is. But I'm hearing all this other shit. I'm trying to go get my money. Yep. So when the shit falls through, I have to go back to Golden State. And at that time, he only let me sign, like the 12 was off the table. He only let me sign a 1-year deal. So I do a 1-year deal, $4 million for that second year after the We Believe team. So the very beginning of the season, November 1st, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. She dies the 27th. So 26 days, needless to say, I'm fucked up. So right when I'm starting to feel better, I remember this like it was yesterday. Nelly pulls me outside of practice. I've never told this story. He's like, I'm glad you didn't sign a long-term deal here. Your time here is up. I'm like, what the fuck? Like what you mean? Like, as my mom just died, well, your time is up, and you may not play the rest of the season. So I'm like, damn, like the dude that opened the door and allowed me to, he allowed me to do my thing. I made a name for myself that We Believe season. I'm back there. My mom dies. I'm going to, and by the way, Golden State was great. Like everyone came to the funeral. They were letting me miss practice. Like they were unbelievable. And that's when me and Jack became real tight. Jack was instrumental during those days for me. But Nelly pulled me outside, bro, and told me like, I'm glad you didn't sign a long-term deal. Your time here is up. So I'm thinking at the time, I'm thinking like, what the fuck? But then I'm also older. Once I got older, I was just like, this man gave me a chance. And then he offered me $12 million out, the next year, and I didn't take it because I thought my fucking agent had $35 million. So then I have to go back with my tail between my legs and take $4 million. And needless to say, like Nelly stuck to his word. Bro, I didn't play that barely, sparingly. I remember one game I was 4 for 4 from the 3-point line and played like 13 minutes. Like Nelly was not fucking with me that next season. I've heard stories about Nelly, how one day he's great and the next day he'll flip on you. He did the same shit to Al Harrington. bro, he gets cold.
But that
So
that
anyway,
whole we believe situation dismantled. Like, I mean, they had that
crazy.
next season where you guys again were really good. You didn't miss the playoffs, but then 2 years later, I mean, I think Stack gets traded. Monteos is like the last one standing. So the incredible high of that 2007 run was almost immediately followed.
Didn't have a
Didn't
chance.
even have a
And
chance.
then also too, like, remember Mitch told us, shout out the Mitch interview. Check out Mitch Richmond
Coming
whenever it
soon.
comes out and all the smoke. How close we were to getting Kevin Garnett
Yeah.
that year. You know, and KG even said like, "Hey, you know, what do you call it? The town or Oakland was on my, you know what I mean." So that team, what coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, woulda, is insane. But all that shit lands me in Phoenix, man. And this is Phoenix. I thought Orlando, Boston were opportunities. Clippers, Lakers were kind of, but Phoenix just, you know, went out and grabbed me. And this is in the midst of, you know, I got two Isaiah and Carter on the way, bro. You know what I mean? So we're out in Phoenix. We're in a new city. Isaiah and Carter are on the way, and I become a dad at the, you know, they're born November 6th, at the very beginning of. So I lost my mom the season before, at the very beginning of the season, and come around, the twins come the year after. So, you know, I'm in a good mental space. You know, after the loss of my mom, with my boys being born.
Them new babies a bit do that to you. I can't imagine having the twins though,
Two of
That's
and
them,
kind of
knowing
bro.
that.
beautiful.
But yeah,
Like you lose your mom.
it
And I had to
is.
learn. I had to learn the hard way too, because I mean, you guys know how hands I am with my kids. I was trying to be up, and me and my ex had a system where they'd wake up every 2.5 hours, and she would get one. There'd be like 5, 6 minutes apart, so she'd start doing one. She's breastfeeding one. By the time the first one's done, the second one's just waking up. So I put the other one on the other titty. I would burp Isaiah. I'd burp Isaiah, change his diaper, and get him back down. And I was trying to do that shit with her, but I learned very quickly, like on game nights, bro, I can't do that. I'm sorry, babe, but I got to sleep in the spare
Hey,
room. I got to lock
I'm on a
in.
1 year deal. If I was on the 3 year deal, maybe I could do it.
If
Facts.
I had
I'm a
some
max
comfort,
guy.
yeah.